Welcome to episode number 2, Only with Dwayne podcast. Man, I missed you guys. I'm so excited to be back down here. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. And I realized as I started this podcast that it was been a very busy time in my life and that I needed to really start budgeting time, and I'm going to get more and more consistent. This is, like I said in the first episode, this is a work in progress. This is not always going to be the best product that I know it will be down the line, but I want to just thank you guys for my friends and families who've reached out to me. Hey man, when's the next episode? When you gonna drop again? How we gonna, what's up? What's going on next? So I appreciate you guys for doing that. I've been teaching and coaching and working and grinding, and I've just really, it's been on my mind. It's been pulling me to get back down here and get back in the basement and do this podcast. So I appreciate you guys for pushing me, motivating me. All that stuff is great. But as I realized with the first episode was really just about taking the first step, taking the leap. For those people that didn't see that first episode, please go back. It's pinned on my Instagram page. It's on my YouTube, Only with Dwayne. Everything's the same. But it was really just about stepping out and explaining the process of becoming great. And I really encourage you guys to go and look at that video. But in that, it made me realize that I didn't introduce myself in a very formal fashion to people that don't know me, people that haven't known me my entire life, who I haven't been friends with, or any of those types of things. So I need to formally introduce myself to the podcast, tell you guys more about myself from a foundational level, and then we'll get into, which the title of this episode is, Introduction to Dwayne and Discovering My Voice. So I'm going to get into some of my spoken words, some of those foundational pieces. That was me starting my process of getting to this podcast. Like people who know, 2 years ago I said I was going to take that step that I did on January 1st, right? But it took me all that time, and in doing that I started writing the spoken words and showing people a part of me that not everyone knew. People knew me, as a basketball player, as a funny person, somebody that always talked in class, all those types of things, but not a lot of people knew that I enjoy writing, I enjoy reading, I enjoy doing some things that are not surface level stuff for athletes, so to speak. So let's kind of get into the layers that I have, getting into the different dimensions of me. So first question that I have, pulled it up. My fiance did a great job, found some very foundational questions for me. So first one, who are you? Man, that's a loaded question. But first and foremost, I am a follower and a believer of Jesus Christ. I am a devout Christian. I walk with God every day. I try to maintain that relationship to the best of my ability. And I am a basketball coach. I coach at Park Tudor School. We are, I believe, 11-4, 12-4, still getting better, but that's what I am primarily. I also substitute teach at Park Tudor School as well. So I am a teacher, I'm an educator, I am a coach, and so I pour a lot into children and kids. So that is me right now. My passions are basketball, movies, hanging out with family. I have a very big family. I have a very involved family. Those are my passions. Basketball history. So I played basketball since I was like 3 or 4 at the YMCA. Yes, with the headband and the long shorts. All my basketball players are gonna make fun of me. It's like, Coach, why are your shorts so long? They go all over your knees. Because that's how I like to. That's how I hooped. That's how I did. That's how I got busy. Right. So started at a very young age. I was a 3-sport athlete as well. Basketball was, of course, the only one that made it through high school. I was fortunate enough to play AAU basketball with Eric Gordon, who I believe just passed, like top 20 all-time in three-pointers made. So shout out EG, shout out EG10, EG All-Stars, all of those. Was a huge part of who I am as a player. I was able to experience, and basketball took me a lot of places. So shout out EG10. I, of course, played at Park Tudor School in the golden era, as I like to call it, for all of my Park Tudor people out there. So I played with Yogi Ferrell, Trayvon Blewett, and yes, Jaren Jackson Jr. That is my guy. If you go on my page, he is on there. Power forward from Memphis Grizzlies. I hope that he makes Defensive Player of the Year again. So that was my teammate in high school as well, amongst some of the other guys, Bryce Moore, Kobe Webster, some of my best friends still to this day. So I was very fortunate to play. And then I went on to play at Nova Southeastern University, who are the defending national champions in Division II. Shout out to all my NSU Sharks. I miss you guys. Shout out Fort Lauderdale, all my people. So that's a little bit of basketball history. I was able to win 2 state championships and an Elite Eight championship in Florida. So I got 3 rings. I take that very seriously. Those that know me know that I don't play by my rings now. I don't play by my rings. And another one. Who do I look up to? Man. Who do I look up to? I look up to a lot of people. I would definitely say I look up to my co-worker, Coach Adams. He's giving me so much tools and learning materials, being an assistant, and how we work together, as well as Coach Clark. I really look up to him as a father, look up to him as an instructor, as a coach in all facets. Like, I really appreciate what he's poured into me as an assistant, young assistant, being able to hop into the varsity level this early in my life, because that is my ultimate goal in life, is to continue to rise up the ranks as God permits in coaching. So I really appreciate what he's done for me. I also look up to my parents, of course. I have great parents, my stepmother, mom and dad, all of them. I look up to them. They've done an amazing job showing me the ropes, showing me how to be a man, how to walk, how to talk, how to lead the right way and lead in a godly way. So I look up to them as well, and everyone in my family, right? From a podcast stance, since we're on this platform, since we're in this space, I look up to Pastor Tim Ross a lot. Shout out The Basement. I will give that podcast so many references, and as time goes along and I grow in my ability to edit and use the platform and edit, I will be pulling things from that podcast, because that is an amazing Christian podcast space that I listen to weekly. So I definitely look up to him, and there's plenty of people, and as you guys know, this is a raw, uncut, unedited. This is not going to be, one take, stop, let me go get a sip, and somebody says something, bleep it out. No. This is going to be one take. This is going to be messy at times. It's going to be crazy at times, but it's not going to be this polished, it has to look this certain way product. That's what I really wanted to push myself to do in this space, because I feel like it's supposed to be genuine. It's supposed to be authentic. It's supposed to be raw. It's not supposed to be this tailored product that we all have in our minds about how things are supposed to be presented. That is biblical in my mind. God wants the broken, the brokenhearted, the poor, the unfinished product in however way you look at it, because we all sin and fall short of God. So that's my approach to this podcast. So just for you guys that know, like, what, he said that, or he stumbled on his words, why didn't he fix it? Because it's not meant to be that way. Sometimes I might come on with the do-rag, right? Sometimes my waves aren't going to be hitting. Sometimes they're not, right? But saying that, it's going to be different. It's not always going to be the same thing. So just don't always be on your toes in this podcast. Always be ready for something different, right? Last question before I get into some of my spoken words. What am I looking forward to this year? In the immediate, since we are in February, I'm looking forward to hopefully having a state championship. That's the end of March. So hopefully I'm coaching through this month, and through that next month, that's what I hope to look forward to this year, as well as growing as a husband in the future, right? I'm engaged now, so I want to further mature, further set money aside, save, invest, do more in my relationship so that I can be the best husband for my wife, right? So I'm looking forward to building those blocks, building those steps, and this starts with this podcast. It starts with showing that I can take risks and I can do things that I'm not 100% confident in, and that's the type of family that I want to build. We all going to take risks. We might fall short, right? We might have to lean on other people, but we're still going to do it. We're still going to trust God, have faith that he's going to provide for everything that we have in life. All right? So those are some foundational questions that I thought that I wanted to start this podcast off with, just so you guys can get a little bit of a taste. And trust me, you're going to know plenty about me, right? We're going to be, especially when I bring on other people, because like I said, I do better with bouncing ideas off of people. This is very, not vulnerable for me, because I've always been comfortable talking, but just talking to a camera, not having that back and forth interaction is a very new thing for me. So I appreciate you guys being patient with me, growing with me, learning with me, right? So let's get into it. So my friends and family who have followed me for the past 2 or 3 years know that I started doing spoken word. What's the date on here? July 19th, 2022, right? So in the post that I posted for my birthday a couple years ago, I said that I was going to start the podcast then, right? But in having my own fears and having my own self-conscious decisions on not taking the step, I started doing the spoken word. I started seeing if people would respond, because in my mind I was trying to still do the podcast for the applause, for the comment, for the like of people, right? And we're human. I understand that. People, I'm not discrediting people for doing that, but just in my mind and heart, I knew God wanted me to do it for His glory, for His recognition, for people to see His kingdom through me. It's not about the likes. It's not about the comments or any of those things. It was about doing it and being obedient to God because He said to do it, right? But in that, I was opening up myself to the people that saw it, and it was still showing that this was a passion of mine, and I was doing it to get praise and doing it to get recognition, right? But in doing that, I see now why God still had me make these spoken words, because it was giving me the vulnerable space to present it to you guys now in this fashion, right? So I'm going to read these. I'm going to read about 6 or 7 of these, just so you guys can kind of get a peek into knowing me better, discovering my voice, as the title said, and just seeing what you guys feel about it. And as I'm opening my vulnerability up, I want you guys to be able to like, comment your favorite ones, just so that I can kind of see what you guys like, and maybe I can kind of tap into kind of those types of poetry and spoken word. And I'll come on here, like I said, this podcast will be different types of products. It won't always be just me sitting down. So I might hop in the booth. I might hop in there and drop a couple bars. You know what I'm saying? I got talent. Now I got a little bit of stuff that I can dibble and dabble in. So just don't stay on your toes. I told y'all, stay on your toes. So here's the first one, right? Been a while since I picked up a pen. Been a while since I knew how to begin. Been a minute since I recognized my pain. Been a minute since I recognized there's more to gain. Maybe I can find the words to make it make sense. Maybe I can find the funds to make it make sense. Don't let that go over your head. Get to your bag. Get some sleep, stink. Your eyes starting to sag. Every mistake equals progression. Every change cannot equal digression. Every loss must equal transition. Every memory cannot equal manipulation. So let me kind of break that down. So, been a while since I picked up a pen. Been a while since I knew how to begin. So, this was the very first spoken word that I revealed to everybody. So, not everybody knew that I wrote poetry for middle school assignments and for summer camp type of competition and things like that. But it was just me saying it's been a while since I've opened up myself in this way, or been a while since I showed people that this is what I like to do, this is what I can do. So that was just that part of that first part of the poem. So it's been a while since I recognized my pain. Been a minute since I recognized there's more to gain. So that was kind of me recognizing that through my vulnerability, through my pain, that there's more to life that I can still gain. So that was kind of God's, that Holy Spirit in the back of my mind saying, hey, there's more that you should be doing. It's not just going to work, doing the job, getting the money. Like, we all have to eat. We all have to survive, right? I understand that completely. But there's more. There's more to gain. And the more that you open yourself up to people, somebody else may see something through you. And then once they talk to you and connect with you, that'll bring them to God. Because God lives with me. So then that, if people see that in me, then they'll want to connect with God through me. So maybe I can find the words to make it make sense. S-E-N-S-E. Maybe I can find the funds to make it make sense. C-E-N-T-S. Don't let that go over your head. Get to your bag. Get some sleep, stink. Your eyes starting to sag. So that was more just for bars. So, you know, it has meaning behind it, but maybe I can find the words to make it make sense. So maybe I can get what's in my head out into a product. Maybe I can use words, use what God's given to me in terms of writing ability and speaking ability to make it make sense for other people. Make it make funds to make it make sense, like money. So everyone knows that, yes, as a platform grows, as a podcast, Instagram page grows, there is money that can be made. So don't let that go over your head. Get to your bag. Get some sleep. Your eyes starting to sag. So keep staying on the grind. Keep doing what you have to do. But keep opening yourself up to people. Don't be, oh yeah, I'm just doing this. I'm just doing whatever. No, like, always be able to pour. That's a goal that I have for myself, and I think it's great for all of us to try to do the best of our ability. When someone, and it's easy for me to do in a middle school environment because kids are very emotional, right? They're always, Mr. Gibson, I need this, I need this. And so I'm always trying my best to say, hey, like, what do you need? How can I do more for you? I try to carry that with me in all that I do, right? So every mistake must equal progression. Every change cannot equal digression. So every mistake, like we all hear from adults, from people around us, don't let everything that we go through in life is to learn. Everything that we've fallen on our face is meant to progress. Every change cannot equal digression. So don't fall back just because something is new or different or difficult. Every loss must equal transition, and every memory cannot equal manipulation. So I had a bad issue with this coming from a past relationship, coming from different traumas that I dealt with in life, that I just thought that, oh man, I should have never did this, I should have never did that. No. Everything that we go through is for a reason. Everything that we've gone through in life, and that's, easier said than done, of course, but when you look back and say, try to work on fine-tuning your mind, fine-tuning that, no, I went through that, I learned from it, and I'm a better person because of it. I prayed for it, I fasted over it, and I'm a better person for it. So that's the first one. Next, spoken from a man that never had a thing, given to a man that fought for everything. Spoken from a man that has everything, given to a man that never had a thing. Our journeys are not aligned, untethered. Our journeys are all designed, unwavered. Aligned, not our journeys are tethered. Designed, all our jerseys are destined. So, spoken from a man that never had a thing, given to a man that fought for everything. So, spoken from a man that never had anything. So, it's just me being a personified character, because I'm very fortunate, the childhood that I grew up with, I recognize that I was more fortunate than some people around me. So, this is just me personifying a different person. So, given to a man that fought for everything, spoken from a man that has everything, given to a man that never had a thing. So, that piece I wrote that because, and it's odd that it happened recently, but twice, and I don't do this for self-righteousness by any means, but spoken from a man that has everything, I say that in terms of having more than I necessarily need, right? So, I was going to Panda Express one night right before it closed, trying to get, a little orange chicken, a little honey walnut shrimp, I do, right? So, I go in, it's about, Panda closes at 10 o'clock, I go in, it's like 9:55, like, they're cleaning up, upset that I'm even in there, and I'm getting my food, and I turn around, and there's a man that's about the same age as me, asking for food, for a whole meal. He's like, hey man, like, do you have extra food, money that you can spare? Would you mind buying me a meal? So it's odd that I wrote this, what's the date on here? July 20th, 2022, and this happened, December 2023, and it's spoken from a man that has everything, given to a man that never had a thing. So he was clearly homeless. Clearly I could tell that he was, fighting to eat, fighting to survive. So I didn't hesitate. I gave and paid for his meal. No questions asked. So that's just that's what I meant for in that passage on that podcast right there, or on that message right there. Spoken from a man that had everything, given to a man that never had a thing. Our journeys are not aligned, untethered. Our journeys are all designed, unwavered. So that's just me talking about God's purpose for our life, right? He already has the plan for us. All of our journeys, all of our paths in life are already given to us. There's nothing that we can do to prevent what God has for us. All we can do is pray, have faith, and honor Him for what's already coming, as He already has in His will, right? So, and then align that our journeys are tethered, designed, all our journeys are destined. It's the same thing, just kind of a play on words and writing it backwards. So that one really meant a lot to me. It was more just about God's will, giving without thinking about it. Spoken from a man that never had a thing, given to a man that has everything. So that was just that one there. So this next one, not sure how we got here, not sure who we are here, not sure if I am here, but I am sure I'm not there. Not sure if I want to be, not sure if I'm a wannabe, not sure if I can be, but I am sure I must be. Not sure how, not sure who, not sure if, but I for damn sure will. So that one was more just questioning my place in life. You know, my fiance and I were going through a lot of change in our life, as a lot of people do in their relationships. But for us specifically, we were going for moving from Florida to Indiana, moving from apartment to apartment. So I was just kind of questioning, not sure how we got here, not sure how we are here. So it's like not sure what God's plans. You know, we're human, right? We live in a social media world, a judgmental world. You go on any post on Instagram, no matter how positive, no matter how cool the person is. Oh, well, LeBron may hit 9 threes. He ain't Jordan. It's like, okay, like everything is negative. There's always a negative connotation. So some of that was sort of seeping in, was getting into my mind and into some of my actions, and it was just making me doubt. Like, you know, not sure if I want to be, not sure if I'm a wannabe. Like, am I who I say I am? Are my actions aligning up with what I tell people? It's like, okay, I used to think I would give advice to people and then go back on and do the same thing that I gave advice for somebody else not to do. So it's like, am I a hypocrite? Am I this? Am I that? So it was me just questioning my approach, my steps in life. Am I doing the right things? So, but that last part is super important. Not sure how, not sure who, not sure if, but I for damn sure will. So that's just me recognizing, like, hey, like, I'm not capable of doing this on my own. I'm not capable of living through life just saying, hey, I know that it's just going to happen, and no matter what, it's just going to be. So I encourage you guys as well, get a relationship with God. Get a relationship with someone who knows God, a mentor, someone that can pour into you, because you for sure will get there. You for sure will be able to beat these milestones, trials, and tribulations that come in your life, but you can't do it alone, right? So for all of us that are having this mindset of like, man, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know how I'm going to feed my my kids, my family, or take care of my responsibilities. You will, right? But you have to be able to be rooted in something that makes you feel like you can, feel like that you can push through anything, right? So that was that one. Couple more. Sometimes it's better to be present than outspoken. Sometimes it's better to be a present than a token. Sometimes it's worse to be present than a burden. Sometimes your best present can be a moment. So that one was more talking about, you know, sometimes it's better to be present than outspoken. So that was something that I was learning for myself, because I recognize my relationship, my fiance, very much, you know, we process, I won't say confrontation as in fighting, but process communication in a different form, right? So I'm very quick to give you my opinion verbally out the gate. I don't want to let it sit, argue, whatever, you know. I want you to know how I feel immediately, versus I understood she likes to sit with it for a moment. Okay, you said that, cool. Just let it marinate for a second. Not in anger, but just in processing it in different ways. So sometimes it's better to be present than outspoken. Just sit, just be there. You know, so many of us, I think the worst thing you can do in a relationship is just leave. Boom. Oh, you said that? I'm out. I'm not dealing with this. Whoa. You still got to be present, right? Sometimes it's better to be present than outspoken. Sometimes it's better to just, even though I'm in your emotion, I may be upset, I may not agree with something, I may be thrown off by what you said. I'm still here though. I'm still holding down the fort. You know, I'm not just gonna, because I feel upset or I feel a different way, just gonna exile or be out of the place. No, and that's something that make sure that mic's in there. You know, that's something I want to maintain as a father. Once that day comes, I want to make sure that that's okay. Like, I want my son, my daughter to always know that Poppy never left. He's always sat right there. They may have a disagreement, but I'm going to sit there and figure it out, right? Sometimes it's better to be present than outspoken. Sometimes it's better to be a present than a token. Sometimes it's worse to be present than a burden, right? So sometimes it's better to be a present than a token. So sometimes it's not always about, sometimes it's better to be, when I wrote that, I was more thinking like sometimes it's better to be a surprise than something that can be exchanged. Like when I think token, I think video game. I think, okay, I'm a token. You're just here for a good time, gone tomorrow. So that was more thinking about, people having that high standard. I pour into my sister often. Don't let, you're dating, cool. You're letting people into your life. This is for everybody. I use my family. Hey, like I said, it's a vulnerable space. You're gonna know me. People that are attached to me, they're gonna know. I'm an open book, right? So it's better to be a present, something that's special, something that's valued, something that's put on a pedestal, because that's what you are. To all my women out there, you're a present. You're not a token. You're not something that somebody could just use for a good time and then it's gone in the next 5 minutes, right? So that was just that little piece that I felt would be a nice little play on words to say, like, sometimes it's better to be a present than a token. Everybody wants to have a good time. Everybody wants to, go out, do all those things. But just remember, you're a present, not a token. Sometimes your best present can be a moment. Man, my baby loves, quality time. And I love that. So sometimes it's your best present can be a moment. Just go out. We were in Florida. Just go to the beach and do nothing. Just go lay down in the towel and just be. I think because there's, like I said, gotta get that out. In 2024, in the social media era, there's always these ways that you can just distract yourself with. What? Distract yourself with a TV show. Distract yourself with being, what I'm trying to say, like, it's okay to be mindless. It's okay to just be in your own thoughts, in your own feelings, away from the crowd, the noise. Like, how many of us just have 30 minutes to an hour of just no phone, silence, with a book or in a conversation, just not being entertained, or, it's okay to be bored. That's when your creative juices come. That's when your thought processes start to flow. It's okay to just be present, and even if it's just for a moment, to just say, when we first started dating, we used to just sit on the bed. Ooh, I'm like young in my life. Just sit down, just look at each other in the eyes, and just be present. Like, yeah, that's so weird, but like, as I think about it now, it was like that. Just I was able to see into her soul. You can see the love, see what you can find inside of a person, like, and that's what I kind of said. It kind of builds off of that last point of, like, if you're allowing yourself to somebody too early, that's that token type of approach. You may not be able, you may be exposing yourself to that part of somebody that they should have earned first, right? So you might, you have like a one night thing. You may not be able to just look at somebody and be like, I don't know if I like you like that, right? But it's different time. I'm being funny, but I'm being serious at the same time. Like, have those moments with the ones you love, your friends, the people. Just, let them know how you feel. Let them know, in moments, not just through a social media. Like, don't like somebody's picture and think they really felt that. DM them. Send them a message and say, hey, man, like, I really, like some people did for me on the podcast. Like, hey, I really appreciate what you said on this part, and this is how it made me feel. Right? That hit a lot different than just a like and a comment. I appreciate those. Please don't stop. Those likes and comments. But what I'm saying is, it's another level. Be in that present moment with people. Right? What we got? Next one. Okay. What are you waiting for? When will you realize that you are one of a kind? What more do I need to do to get you there? Who are you waiting for? When will they realize that you are one of a kind? What more do they need to do to get you there? How are you waiting? When will you realize it is not in your control? How do you plan to get there? None of these can be answered by me. Some of these can be answered because of me. What, who, or how will you let them stop your legacy? So, I'm not going to go into all the lines on this one because there's a lot. We'd be here all day, all night. But it was more just asking those questions of, I wrote those as questions, but they were really questions to myself. But since I'm opening myself up in this space, these are questions that you guys can sit with and sort of question, right? What are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for? And how are you waiting, right? I think something that I really valued in the relationship that I'm in, the family that I come from, is they constantly pour into me. There's never a moment where I'm just like, hey, like, I may feel discouraged in myself. I may feel like I'm inadequate in some areas, but it doesn't come from the people that are attached to me. And I feel like that is so, so, so powerful. God speaks on it so much, so often, that you need to have a circle of people that are going to uplift you, motivate you, because we can't go through life on our own, right? So I try to my very best ability to the people that are attached to me in any way to pour into them. Yes, it's a like sometimes on the story. Yes, it's sometimes just randomly texting, hey, I haven't talked to you in so long. Woo, woo, woo. How are you doing? Right? But how are you waiting? Right? Some people that have a twisted approach to God and God's people and community is, well, I'm just waiting for God to bless me, so I'm gonna just sit here and do nothing. No. You still have to read your Bible, go to His house, bring other people to. God needs to be seen through you, like I said earlier in this episode, so that people know, okay, so that's how God works. Okay, so even though might not have as much money in my bank account as I may want, or maybe if I'm going through certain struggles, but I'm not letting it affect me. I'm not letting it deter me from what I need to do. I appreciate the compliments that I get at work pretty often because I come in there, boom, upbeat, positive, ready to. I come into practice, I'm yelling, I'm screaming, "Hey, who's on the ops? I'm turning the music up," right? Like I try to be, and it doesn't always feel that way inside, right? But how are you waiting? Who are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Right? There's plenty of things that we all want in life, but your position and how you steward what you have today, that's how God knows to bless you later on. You know, it's the same thing as, oh, well, you know, think about, I should be the manager of this McDonald's. I've been here for 5 years. Okay, but you've been late. You've been late twice a week for 5 years, but you want to manage. Right? So it's like, how are you stewarding what you currently have for God to say, okay, now they're ready for the next blessing. Right? So that was the motivation for that one. And there's one more. Okay. Last one here. No, you're right. I have been slacking off. Thinking I can't post or speak unless it takes off. Sure. I have been following the crowd like a duck in the row, thinking if I just fall in line, somehow I'll grow. Man, listen, the time is now. This is for you, not them. Don't you want your goals achieved and not dreamt? Sometimes you got to remind yourself who you are and what you do it for, or how you got to this place, but now it's time to go. Okay, so that first part is the most powerful part, because that was really the motivation for that first podcast episode, which again, you don't need to go check out, right? But no, you're right. I have been slacking off, thinking I can't speak unless it takes off. So that piece was so pivotal because, like I said, I was thinking about starting this podcast and being in this space because I wanted it to take off. I wanted it to be the biggest podcast, or I wanted to reach all these milestones in X amount of time, but you're thinking that you can't speak unless you get these steps, when God is just looking for obedience. He's just looking for, are you going to do what I put in your spirit to do for years, right? So that was such a big piece for me in terms of just taking that leap of faith, doing what I need to do to open myself up to people. And so that was motivation for that first part. So sure, I have been following the crowd like a duck in the row, thinking if I just fall in line, somehow I'll grow, right? If you, and I say you as in me in the past, but if you want to go, and this is really speaks to my approach as a coach as well, if you want to grow, you can't just do what the majority do, right? So, and that's hard to do with social media and TikTok, and I understand it, but we get these 7 to 3 minute sound bites or video clips, and we think that we know more, right? But the process and all that stuff behind the scenes, that's what makes you grow. It's the daily approach. It's the consistency. It's the dedication to a craft that allows you to get to that next level. Not just, oh, okay, I watched it, but did you do extra? Did you do more? Did you do what was not expected? That's how you'll grow. Not just following everybody like, okay, I did my 10 free throw, I did my 1 to 2 steps. Okay, so do 4, 5, and 6, even though I didn't ask. Right? So that's that next piece of growth. So man, listen, the time is now. This is for you, not them. Don't you want your goals achieved and not dreamt? Right? So don't you want what's we can't just have dreams and not act on them. Okay, I want to be the biggest business owner in the world. So how are you going to do the small steps to get to that place? Right? How are you going to get to your goals being something that's actually achievable and not just an aspiration that sits in your mind like, okay, like, how are you making the calls, making the connections, asking for help, doing stuff that's outside of the scope of just what you imagine in your head, right? So sometimes you got to remind yourself what you are and what you do it for, or how you got to this place, but now it's time to go. So you got to remind yourself who you are. You have to, in those moments of tribulations and sadness and doubt and all those things that creep up on everybody, even me to this day. Like I said, this isn't always a finish. I'm not whole in doing and saying these things, but you have to remind yourself who you are and what you do it for, right? The people that make sacrifices for you to get where you are, the people that put things on the line and maybe put their dreams on the back burner for you to get to where you need to get to, right? So you have to remind yourself, man, like it's not about me. Anytime it's just about you, you're probably having the wrong thought process. You're probably having the wrong approach. You got to fix the approach, the perspective, the relativity to other people. That's when you'll start to really have that growth. And that's it. And that's how I want to end this podcast. So, I appreciate you guys. All my friends, like I said before, thank you for motivating me. Thank you for saying, man, when's the next episode, bro? We waiting, we hungry, we need to feed us, man. We need some more of that spot. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Next episode, like I said, All-Star Games coming to Indy in 2 weeks. I got some special guests, man, lined up. So stay tuned. I'll nip and clip this. Like I said, it's going to be unedited. This whole thing is going to be on YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe, send it to people. I'm going to clip up certain little snippets of the different spoken words and post them throughout the week so you guys can be encouraged in some way. Again, thank you for tuning in with me. I love y'all. Deuces.